The Red Cross responds to nearly 66,000 disasters every year, most of them house fires. Red Cross President and CEO Gail McGovern says you need to develop an evacuation plan and practice it, especially with your children. It takes just 2 minutes for a home to be engulfed in flames.
Practice those drills. We all think our kids know what to do. They don't. We need to teach them. We have started a large campaign where we're going into vulnerable communities and helping install smoke alarms. Already 92 lives were saved, and 4 of those lives were saved by a 5-year-old girl who remembered what we taught them during these fire drills, and she got her family out. We also have a slew of free apps that people can download onto their smartphones. It's what to do in every kind of disaster you can imagine, how to prepare and how to recover.
To help support all the Red Cross does and to make a financial donation, go to redcross.org. That's redcross.org.
See that cute little dog in the pet store window? Chances are it came from a puppy mill. A breeding facility that forces caged, neglected, and often sick dogs to churn out puppy after puppy to be sold for profit. Meanwhile, millions of wonderful, healthy pets end up in animal shelters. This leads to the killing of more than 9,000 by the end of today. But with one simple choice, you can help. Just by deciding to adopt instead of purchase your next pet. Animal shelters are full of amazing pets looking for a home. When you adopt your new best friend, not only are you saving a life, you're taking a stand against puppy mills. When your friends see the smart choice and impact you've made, they adopt their next pet and share with 5 of their friends, who share with 5 more. Before long, thousands get involved. Pet stores stop selling dogs from puppy mills, and even more lives are saved. And with your help, we can save them all. Visit bestfriends.org/puppymills to learn more.
It's Thursday night, and you're grabbing drinks with some friends. Started off with a pitcher for the table, which quickly becomes 2. There's pool. And there's the photo booth.
All right, everybody squeeze in. Say cheese!
Followed naturally by an order of wings. And another.
Can we get some extra ranch sauce?
Then there's the ceremonial nightcap.
So what are we doing this weekend?
And lastly, it's back to the car, which, if you're buzzed, could be the most expensive night of your life. Getting pulled over for buzzed driving could cost you around $10,000 in fines, legal fees, and increased insurance rates. Nothing kills a buzz like getting pulled over for buzzed driving, because buzzed driving is drunk driving. Brought to you by the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration and the Ad Council.
Every day, the men and women of the United States Marine Corps demonstrate their commitment to defend the American way of life. Since 1775, we have served our nation as a force in readiness. From combat operations to humanitarian assistance in every corner of the world. No matter where the mission takes us today or wherever our country needs us tomorrow, we always remember the land we call home. As Marines, we take a stand for each other, for our nation, for us all. The few, the proud, the Marines.
The human voice. It can be sweet as music, powerful as thunder,
and so, my fellow Americans,
cheerful as laughter. But for millions of people, it can also be a sign of COPD. This serious lung disease can make it so hard to breathe, you often can't catch a breath or finish a sentence, let alone carry a tune. And many who have COPD don't even know it. That's where your voice comes in. If you think you or a loved one have symptoms, talk with a healthcare provider. Early diagnosis can mean better treatments and quality of life. Join us in raising our voices for the millions with COPD who can't. Learn more, breathe better at NIH.gov.
As a mother, you don't want to have to worry about this bill is coming, but then she needs this chemo. That's a decision you shouldn't have to make.
It's a huge burden lifted financially, and so it allows you to give singular focus to your child. I've never known a hospital that takes care of their patients so thoroughly.
That was the first thing I was like, how are we going to do this? When they told us that we didn't have to pay a single bill, I was like, wow, they pretty much have saved us.
It's like the world has been lifted off of your shoulders, and now your focus is supporting this child.
There is not another hospital like St. Jude. The patient care is unmatchable. It saved my life. It saved my daughter's life. It saved our family.
St. Jude Children's Research Hospital. Finding cures, saving children. Learn more at stjude.org.
The following program is closed captioned for the thinking impaired.
Zinc Media. Feel the power of knowledge. Monday morning to you, one and all. Glad that you are here. Here it is, Monday, December number 4 in the year of our Lord 2017. Welcome to all of you liberty lovers and ecclesiastites all across the globe. It is I, your lovable host, Elrod, coming to you live from the Bunker Eye Studios this morning. It is a sunny yet somewhat brisk morning of 27 degrees as we start out the week on a cold note. But it is December, so it's supposed to be cold. It is going to get up into the high atmosphere of about 40 to 43 this day, which is right around normal, I guess, for us here in northern New England. I don't know what normal is. I love how they say normal. They give us an actual, number. Normal temperature today is 42 degrees, 42.3 degrees. That's the normal temperature. Does it ever hit normal? I mean, ever? Well, and of course, if it's 43 degrees is the normal temperature, and it gets to be 45, then they say it's slightly above normal. Or if it only gets to 40, then they'll say it's slightly below normal. Does it ever hit the exact normal? I don't know. I do not know if it ever does, but I don't think it does. But in any case, welcome aboard. Get a lot to cover. I know there's some tax stuff. The Senate actually got off their collective asses and did something. We have some information or some stuff on the Mueller team, believe it or not, and of course that never-ending, ongoing, fiasco that's supposed to the Trump the collusion investigation. It's no longer collusion, people. Just so you know, now it's all about process crimes. The people. I have said this before. And we'll get into this a little bit later. I said this before. If you ever speak to the government, like the FBI, now this is not a slam. Well, it's not really meant as a slam to them, but it's just the way it is. You go if you're ever asked to speak to any prosecutor, investigator from the government, whether it be your local government or the FBI or any other federal agency or agent, you always go with your lawyer. You never speak to them without your lawyer. Whenever they ask you a question, now this is how you do it. This is how you have to do it, folks. Whenever a question is asked, first of all, you ask for pen and paper, or you bring your own. And when they ask you a question, you write it down. Yeah, and if they look at you and say, what are you doing? What are you doing? Saying you're taking notes so you don't get confused. Pretty simple. And then every time they ask you a question, you write the question down, you confer with your attorney, and then you answer it as truthfully as you possibly can. And then when they ask you that question again at another time, because you're going through your notes of the questions that they ask you, when they ask you the question again, even if they rephrase it, they're going to do it. They ask you the question again, you say, question was asked and answered. That's it. And you only let them interview you once. If it takes 8 hours, fine. If it takes 3 hours, fine. If it takes 1 hour, great. But you don't keep going. This is where Flynn made his mistake. And this is where Scooter Libby and a bunch of other people always make their mistakes. They go back, time and time again. They ask you for, and they do this on purpose, folks. They really do. They know what they're doing. This is a science. But you offer to answer their questions only once. Because what's going to happen, now I don't know if Mueller or if General Flynn lied on purpose. I don't know. But we do know that people have been caught in lies that didn't really intend to lie. Yeah, sure, some people intend to lie in order to maybe try to save their own butts or to cover their embarrassment. Maybe they didn't actually do anything illegal, but they might try to cover their embarrassment. Or they may think, well, geez, if I tell the truth, I'm going to get in trouble, when the reality is that they wouldn't, which is why you got to have your lawyer there, which in reality, you wouldn't get in trouble if you told the truth. But once you sit down and talk with them, that's it. You let them know you're not coming back. You're not coming back. Not voluntarily. And you lay the ground rules. Your lawyer can lay the ground rules. You ask a question once and once only. If the question is answered, it's asked and answered, period. When you try to rephrase, you got to have a lawyer that's on top of it. I don't know why these lawyers let their clients get battered like this. Because eventually what they're going to do is every time they interview you, they compare notes from they're taking notes, by the way, so I don't know why you can't. So they compare notes to the last time that they ask you that question. And if there's a discrepancy, then boom, they got you on a process crime. Did you lie? You lied. You lied to a federal officer, an investigator. You can't do that. That's illegal to lie. Isn't it wonderful how it's illegal to lie to the government, but it's not illegal for any government official to lie to the public, their boss? I mean, I don't know why people do it. I don't know why lawyers let their clients do it. I would never let my client do it. Never. I would never let them be interrogated or questioned more than once. I would never let investigators keep asking the same questions over and over, the same question over and over again, just wording it differently, hoping to catch you in a lie. That's, investigators are supposed to be, now this is my view. This is the way now maybe this is a little, utopic. But in my view, investigators are supposed to be looking for the truth, no matter where it leads. They should not be looking for, well, I think he's guilty, so I'm going to prove he's guilty and try to prove he's guilty. That's not how the justice system is supposed to work. I mean, I know it's idealistic, right? That's an idealistic notion. Don't you ever watch cop shows? I get how many times when a cop was just positively sure, and I'm not talking TV shows, I'm talking reality. How many times is a cop so sure that they had the right guy, that they wouldn't look at anything else or anybody else? They knew that this person was guilty, and they did everything they possibly can to prove that that person was guilty, only to find out later the person was completely innocent. You know, this is. I'm sorry, but you got to go through the truth. You have got to feature and try to find nothing but the truth. That's it. That's all that counts. But these people, they don't seem to think that's what counts. What counts is getting the person that they want to get. No, I know sometimes it may seem that you have the right person, that you know this person is guilty. First of all, folks, you watch it. You know, if you think that always happens, you watch too many cop shows, because that's not the way it works. You know, that kind of stuff was written from somebody's imagination. The reality is when you're out in the real world, you can't focus on a person. You have to focus on the facts, because believe it or not, you know, look, I have friends that are cops at all different levels. You know, I know 2 people now that are or were FBI agents. You know, and I know Secret Service, former Secret Service agents. I know U.S. Marshals, state police, local police, county sheriff's deputy. I mean, I went to school with some of them, both high school and college. Hell, I mean, I even coached baseball, and I had an FBI agent's son on my baseball team, and I talked to him frequently. I mean, they all talk about investigate. Look, I even went to school for this stuff. I went to college. Investigative procedures are rarely followed the way they're taught. Now, the way they're taught is that you focus on the truth, but the reality is that you've got too many cops. I don't care what level they are. They focus on a suspect. And you see that on television shows and in movies. No, that's not the way it's supposed to go down. Because if you're only focusing on a suspect, then you're going to get what you got in this Mueller thing. You're going to get people that are going to get involved, that all they want to do is bring down the suspect. And the suspect in this case is who? Donald Trump. All they're going to want to do is bring down the suspect. They don't give a damn about the facts. And if they can't bring down the suspect, they're going to bring down whoever is closest to them. They're going to get as close as they possibly can, with the hopes that this person is going to roll on their key suspect. Even if all of the evidence says that their key suspect is innocent of any wrongdoing, they're going to keep going after him because they know they did something wrong. Even if they just they're going to get him on jaywalking if that's all they can get him on. That's not justice. That's vendetta. Vendetta has no place in our legal system. Plain and simple. Anyway, we've got some new Christmas music and some old favorites coming up in the program this morning as well. We'll get into there's some other key developments in the Mueller investigation. We've got we've got just a ton of stuff here in the electronic and physical paper pile that is in my. By the way, if folks want to send Christmas gifts, a good, you can send cigars to me if you want. I mean, I'm easy to buy for. Just a good cigar. Anything by Arturo Fuente, anything by Padron, anything by, you know the good ones out there. Rocky Patel, those are good too. Anyway, well, we're not going to contribute to your demise. Well, if you're a liberal, you should probably want to give me those kind of gifts because, that leads to health problems, so they say. And that would get me off the planet faster if you sent me cigars. So liberals should send me tons and tons of cigars to smoke. There's something else going on in Vermont, by the way. Yeah, something. You're not going to believe this. We'll get to this when we get back. You're listening to me, your lovable host, L. Rod, here on the Rod Eccles Show.
We've all heard of male enhancement, but now there's an expert on true male enhancement in the areas that really count. In Herb Ellis's book, Husband 2.0, Real Male Enhancement, you'll find answers to questions like, why doesn't she want to have sex? A quick start, quick results workout guide, plus what you can do as a side hustle to make money now. With all the great tips in this book, every man can benefit. Get the book, Husband 2.0, Real Male Enhancement, on Amazon.com.
Tired of paying outrageous prices for Viagra? Well, we have great news for you. Now you can finally get Viagra at huge discounts. Healthy Man allows you to save up to $500 on Viagra. Why pay U.S. pharmacy prices of $15 per pill or more when you can get Viagra for less than $3 a pill? Call today and get 40 Viagra pills for only $99. This can cost as much as $600 at your local pharmacy. You can't afford not to call us. If you want Viagra at the lowest prices, never pay $15 a pill pharmacy prices again. Get Viagra for less than $3 a pill. Call 800-595-2614 today and save up to $500 and get 40 pills for just $99. Healthy Man is fast, easy, and affordable. Operators are waiting at 595-2614 to take your call now. Call 800-595-2614. That's 800-595-2614. Again, 800-595-2614.
It started with a knock, but it wouldn't end there. What happens in the story next, many wouldn't understand, and most wouldn't believe. 5 + 2 = Perfection by Samuel Rosette Jr. is a must-read. The scriptures within are reminders of the ancient past, and yet intriguingly infuses with texts which stand on the edge of the stage of relevancy. Available online at Westbow Press, Amazon, Books A Million, Barnes & Noble, and SamuelRosetteJr.com.
Before we get to this morning's, let's do this morning's Christmas song first, so I don't run out of time for it. This is an old ditty from 2 years ago, I do believe. This is a wonderful short version of "We Wish You a Merry Christmas." that always reminds me of it's Mannheim Steamroller meets 1980s punk band. We wish you a Merry Christmas indeed. Yeah, that should get you awoke. Are you woke now? You got to shake off. Well, it is almost 26 past the hour now. That's one. I've never done that. Never mentioned the time. Like that on this program before. Other shows do that, but because this show can be heard at, it used to be heard at odd times. It would come on at like say 1:30 in the morning, not 1 o'clock, but 1:30. But anyway, Vermont. This is what's happening possibly could be happening in Vermont. Bernie Sanders could get. Well, they're saying this is made for reality TV. This would be a great reality TV show. But Randy Quaid says, well, he says it. Yes, everybody remembers Randy Quaid. The older, I think he's the elder brother of Dennis Quaid. Could be the next senator from the great state of Vermont. Well, yeah, let that sink in for a second. The veteran actor tweeted a threat warning last week, claiming that reps from a super PAC have approached him about running against Bernie Sanders for his U.S. Senate seat next year, and a reality show pitch about the potentially wacky race is making its way around town. Public Spectacle Media is planning an unscripted series that would follow Quaid's long-shot bid to become the junior senator from the Green Mountain State. Some very powerful people representing a super PAC have approached me about running against Bernie Sanders for senator. 100% fact. Now, you know what? I'm not saying that Randy Quaid would be a good senator, because I think he's lost a few of his screws. Now I don't know if he's gotten any mental help or what have you, but I think he's lost a few of his. But you know what? Bernie Sanders isn't all there either. So I think it would be an awesome race. It would just be a spectacle to watch. I'd watch that reality show, to tell you the truth. Anybody else watch that? So it's just, why not? Yeah, hey, for somebody to say he's a long shot is probably a little bit short-sighted. Could Randy Quaid actually beat Bernie Sanders? Well, anything is possible. I would never count him, especially if he actually has some super PAC and some power people behind him. After all, we are talking in Vermont, and Randy Quaid is an actor or former actor, and there are a lot of, performing arts people that live in Vermont and can vote there, and there are a lot of I don't know, is he? But if he's running against Sanders, that means he's going to be running on the Republican side. So he might be better off running as an independent. Well, no, Bernie's an independent. So you got an independent versus an independent. There you go. That's the way it would work down there or over there in Vermont. I think that it'd be great. Unfortunately, the people of Vermont, the real people of Vermont, would probably suffer as a result of such a race. But you can't help it. Big good TV, entertainment.
You're listening to The Rod Eccles Show. Let truth be told.
On the battlefield, there's a saying America's military men and women live by. Never leave a fallen warrior behind. Ever. Off the battlefield, Wounded Warrior Project operates with the same goal. We leave no warrior behind. Wounded Warrior Project is a non-profit organization created to help our men and women returning home with the scars of war. Whether those scars are physical or mental, we're here to make sure that they heal. And whether it's helping those with post-traumatic stress disorder live a normal life again, or giving much-needed support to injured warriors in veterans' hospitals. Because no one deserves our help more than the men and women who risk their lives to keep us safe. Wounded Warrior Project. We never leave a fallen warrior behind. Ever. Learn more about what we do at woundedwarriorproject.org.
Think fast. In the short time it takes to listen to this message, a small flame can turn into a big fire. Several minutes more, and thick, poisonous smoke may have filled your lungs and reduced your ability to respond. Give it 5, and your entire home may be filled with flames.
Keep breathing. We've got you.
Don't let your world go up in smoke. Have working smoke alarms and practice an escape plan for you and your loved ones. Learn more at usfa.fema.gov, because fire is everyone's fight.
Have you mixed your pain meds, your sleep meds, your allergy meds? Call the Poison Helpline. Has your child eaten a tube of toothpaste, a chip of paint, a wild mushroom? Call the Poison Helpline. Have you been bitten by a spider, a snake, an insect? Call the Poison Helpline. Poisonings can happen at the home, on the job, or in the great outdoors. Call the Poison Helpline first for fast, free advice from medical professionals. Call 1-800-222-1222 anytime, anywhere. 1-800-222-1222. Save the number, save a life. Brought to you by the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services.
Hi, I'm Hillary Duff. As a mom, I'm proud to support the March of Dimes in helping more women have full-term pregnancies and healthy babies. That's why I walk in March for Babies. The money we raise funds research and local programs that help babies overcome the challenges of premature birth and birth defects. Sign up today at marchforbabies.org. Together, we can help make healthier babies possible for thousands of families.
It's pretty amazing when you consider that 7 years ago, we didn't have the treatments we have now. We cure 80% of children with cancer. Go back 50 years, we were curing 20 to 30%. This is the miracle story of modern medicine. We understand what makes this cancer tick. And of course, without donors from around the world, this just couldn't happen. There's one thing we're focused on, and that's beating this thing.
St. Jude Children's Research Hospital. Finding cures, saving children. Learn more at stjude.org.
It's Thursday night, and you're grabbing drinks with some friends. Started off with a pitcher for the table, which quickly becomes 2. There's pool. And there's the photo booth.
All right, everybody squeeze in. Say cheese!
Followed naturally by an order of wings. And another.
Can we get some extra ranch sauce?
Then there's the ceremonial nightcap.
So what are we doing this weekend?
And lastly, it's back to the car, which, if you're buzzed, could be the most expensive night of your life. Getting pulled over for buzz driving could cost you around $10,000 in fines, legal fees, and increased insurance rates. Nothing kills a buzz like getting pulled over for buzz driving, because buzz driving is drunk driving. Brought to you by the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration and the Ad Council.
America's wounded warriors are coming home. After serving on foreign shores, these brave men and women are returning to their families and communities. Many have wounds you can see, and many have wounds you can't see, like post-traumatic stress disorder. Now that these warriors are back home, they are ready to enter the civilian workforce. To help, Wounded Warrior Project has developed the Warriors to Work program, a career counseling service that helps warriors translate their military experience to the civilian workplace. These extraordinary men and women bring proven world-class job skills and a unique perspective on teamwork to the job. And to ensure the right warrior finds the right job, Wounded Warrior Project works with employers to find just the right match. When you hire a wounded warrior, you hire an intelligent, talented, and committed new employee. Contact Wounded Warrior Project at findwwp.org. Welcome home the brave.
There is an HGTV program that my mother used to love, but now she's a little sick of the overexposure of these people. Anybody hear the names Chip and Joanna Gaines before? Well, last month they announced that they were in their fifth or sixth season. Whenever I'm back at home with I've watched. She has HGTV on her, almost that and old Western channels on cable, 24/7. And I've seen a few episodes of these two, and they're sugary sweet. They really are. They're just cute as a button couple. But they recently announced on Good Morning America, I guess they announced that they were discontinuing. They were canceling themselves. I guess they're at the top of their game, and they're canceling themselves for a number of. Now I realize why they're probably doing it. These guys came out of nowhere. They're in just outside of Waco, Texas, but they came out of nowhere and landed on the American and Canadian interior design, or basically, they're kind of like flippers. They're a different kind of flipper. They actually show that. Well, they don't go through the whole process, but they just don't flip a house. They actually design it, I guess, and they were a different twist or take on the flipping thing, and they just blew up. And last month they announced that while at the top of their game, they were canceling themselves, their show. Well, I guess I've been reading up on this. That they've got a mini empire that they're building down there in Waco, which explains why they're leaving the show, because it takes up too much of their time and takes up too much of their time away from their little growing. I guess they got a restaurant and of course Joanna's got her design center there, and they've got a retail store. Which also reminded me of something a while ago, back in the early 2000s. My mother used to love this show called Decorating Sense, where they would change a room for $500 or less. But the reason why I liked watching it wasn't because of the decorating on the cheap, but there was a segment called Trash to Treasure, where you go out and you take pieces of old stuff and turn it into something useful, functional, and new, and hip and cool. And I had somebody that was over to my place that saw something that I did that with, and they asked where I bought it. And I said, well, no, I didn't buy it. I made it. And they just wouldn't believe it. No, you didn't. Yeah, I did. I made it. And it's not that new. I made it a while ago, actually, years ago. I made it. And she looked at me and she said, and she looked over at her boyfriend, and her boyfriend actually, believe it or not, works for a local furniture store around here. She said, he should sell that. I said, what? Wait, no, you want to buy it? I'll sell it to you. I'm not that attached to it. If you want to buy it. But then I thought about it for a second. Look, wait a minute. Okay, so there are actual people that start businesses and have showrooms. All this. There's one here. It's in Hooksett, New Hampshire. I can't remember the name. I think they just recently opened up. But basically, it's a trash to treasure type of joint. And you walk, you can get all kinds of what you can do with flipping. It's called furniture flipping now. Everything's flipping. There's a plethora of videos on how to do it on YouTube. Let's just, for a lark, let's see what they got on YouTube. I was overwhelmed by the number of returns for the flip. So there you go. There's another business idea for you. Flipping furniture. And just remember to make sure you make your 1% royalty check out to Rod Eccles, please, once you start making money off of it. There are some big shops in New York City, I guess. They go out and they find all this stuff that's junk, pretty much, and they repurpose it or refinish it or refurbish it and then turn around and sell it for buku bucks in their own showroom. And this stuff sells like crazy. Well, the reason why I bring it up is because the new style today, I just learned, is this farmhouse style. It's called farmhouse style of decorating, interior design, and exterior. And now I'm looking at this and thinking, we had a neighbor way back in the day who was into country. Like this is nothing but they've renamed it. It used to be called country style. Back in the 60s, 70s, 80s, it was called country. Today it's called farmhouse. But there's one big difference between farmhouse versus they've taken country and they stripped all the. Anybody know? Is it just me? Now I'm not a huge interior designer. I don't study it, but it seems to me that whenever I see this farmhouse stuff, everything is so pale and white and off whites and this kind of white and that kind of country decorating, which I don't particularly like. It had a lot of color to it, which is probably why I didn't like it so much. But today it's like they've taken all of that stuff that was in country and all they did was just add some bleach. Now, me personally, I like to have color, not bright colors. I am more of in the mission and prairie style. I love that kind of stuff. Furniture pieces and designs by Stickley and Frank Lloyd Wright. I would love to have myself a real Craftsman bungalow. Craftsman style, I get all fuzzy-wuzzy. I love Craftsman furniture. I love the Craftsman design. It's just nothing but wood and leather. That's kind of manly. Well, yeah, it is, but it's very comfortable to me. It's very warm and cozy, and at the same time, in the summer, it's very pleasing and cool from the a respite from the heat. It's just great stuff. It's natural. It's because it's all natural. You can't get more natural than leather and wood, I guess, and stone. But that's what I like. So I wouldn't be so much into this the country farmhouse thing. I'd be more of the Stickley and Frank Lloyd Wright style. But it just seems to me that everybody's going gaga crazy. I love all these trends. I love these decorator trends. People run out and they buy all this crap, and then in 2 years, they're sick of it because there's a new trend. Me, I'll stick with, the whole mission and arts and crafts and prairie style has been around for over 100 years. I don't think it's going anywhere, so I'm going to stick with it. I like good, it's actually been around for longer than that. A form of it's been around for just about forever before we got into the Industrial Revolution and got all this cheap crap flying around. But in any case, so you too could go ahead and, you'll never know where you might find an idea. Somebody will just give you an idea. If I had the money, maybe I would start a furniture showroom of just flipping stuff like that. But that takes time and effort and work. A lot of work, because you got to refinish the furniture, and then you got to be in the store all day long. So then you got to hire people to I don't know. But in any case, is that what they have now? I'm hearing from CS that they have a bakery, a bed and breakfast. Well, I knew they had a construction company because that's where all the flipping comes from. They have a bed and breakfast too. What, really? Well, good for them. But anyway, so yeah, that's Chip and Joanna Gaines for the what's it called? Flipper? I don't know. Something Flipper, I think. I can't remember. I don't watch the program. In any case, you can go out there and do something like that for yourself. And if you do start that kind of a business and showroom, or just you don't even need a showroom anymore. All you got to do is either know somebody who can take decent pictures, or you can take decent pictures yourself, and you can throw that stuff online. Oh, there's an idea. You could throw that stuff. You can even throw it on what are all there's a bunch of Amazon type. You can sell your own stuff on Walmart.com too, can't you? And can't you sell stuff on is it Overstock.com that you can individual? It's all these places are acting like Amazon. So you don't have to just be on Amazon anymore. You've got other choices, I guess. I don't know. Is Sears.com the same way? Although I don't know how much longer Sears is going to be around. But I think Sears.com you can also sell your own stuff. I'm not sure. You could check it out. But you don't have to have a showroom. Your showroom could be your house. Now, the only problem is you just have to figure out the cost and how to ship some of the big furniture pieces and stuff. But hey, Overstock and Wayfair, they all ship furniture. So it's possible and plausible, so you just got to figure it out. Anyway, back to some real stuff. Did you know? We have the Mueller stuff going on. There's a ton of it. But what I want to really get into, we'll get into that just in the next hour. But evidently, there are people that are not liking Trump because Trump is succeeding. Yes. The Dow Jones hit 24,000 last week. Dow Jones Industrial Average. There are people that are talking about that it could hit 25,000 by the end of this week. And there is, people talk about, well, the stock market is only for the rich. It doesn't really matter. Doesn't mean anything. Although the numbers are not as high as they used to be. It is still a fact that more than 50% of the adult population in this country are somehow invested in the stock market. And the left doesn't want you to realize that, by the way. They just want you to think that it's all for rich people and institutional investors. And that's not the case. People, and I know some people are saying, well, I'm not in the stock market. Do you have a retirement plan? Do you have, like a 401k or maybe an SEP, a SEP, or a Roth IRA or any other kind of personal IRA? Do you have any of that? Yeah. Well, where the hell do you think the money gets invested? A lot of it gets in the stock market. I heard somebody. At a coffee shop. I swear to you, it was one of those moments where you have a hard time to keep from laughing or spitting up your coffee. And this person, they were talking finances, investments and stuff. And one of them says, and he was a male. He looked at the two people he was sitting with, and he said, I don't like stocks. I would never invest in stocks. That's why I have mutual funds. Now, I'm sure he probably meant something different than what he said, but the first thing that came to my mind was, well, what do you think mutual funds invest in? Unless, of course, he's in mutual funds and there are mutual funds out there that only invest in things like municipal bonds and corporate bonds. They invest in notes. Otherwise, they're in stocks. But this, believe it or not, a lot of people don't realize this. So when the stock market goes up, they don't even equate that with their mutual fund increasing in value and them gaining some value and more money in their own pocket. It's amazing how people don't put two and two together like this. But nearly 60% of the American population, and I'm talking about adults, are invested in the stock market either directly or indirectly. Indirectly meaning through their 401k or through a mutual fund. Now I know that there's a growing number of people that are getting into these real estate investment trusts, REITs. Actually, I got a prospectus the other day for one. The only problem with this one is that in order to get some of these REITs require you to be a person of means a little bit. The minimum to get into this REIT was $20,000. Yeah, I just got $20,000 laying around that I could just invest in a REIT. But in any case, for those of you who can, good for you. Glad, happy, clapping for you. Yay, wonderful. But there are REITs out there that allow investors to get in for a lot less, more affordable. But for the most part, people are in the stock market, even if they don't that's the problem. They don't realize it. This is the problem with the educational system in this country. We don't teach people that they're in a lot of stuff and a lot of things that that these politicians know it, especially the left, they know it. When they're demagoguing the rich, they're actually demagoguing the actual middle class. Because the middle class, they do this stuff that the rich do, but on a much smaller scale, but it affects them a lot more than it affects the so-called rich. You're a middle-class person making $40,000, $50,000, $60,000 a year. You're depending on your 401k or your Roth IRA to do well so you can retire comfortably. Well, your 401k or your Roth IRA is invested heavily in stocks, but the left wants you to believe that only the rich benefit from stocks going up, but only the rich benefit from a rocketing stock market, and therefore all these capital gains or ill-gotten gains that the rich should be paying capital gains taxes on. Well, it only comes to pass that the middle class figures out that for some reason they're now considered rich. Because when they dip into their 401k or their Roth IRA and start to retire, they start getting hit with these high taxes on these dividends. Now, dividends used to be really, really high, and they were separate from income. And this is where a lot of people made their mistake. Oh, well, when I retire, I'm going to be in a lower tax bracket. Not with the dividend tax, you're not. You're not in a lower tax bracket. If the dividend tax is 30%, but your income tax bracket is 15%, you're paying a 30% in your dividends. Now, a lot of people got hit with that, and they didn't understand it because they were they were misinformed by the left, who does this on purpose, folks. They were misinformed. And it's only getting worse.
Hello, America. It's me, your history. I remember a time when we thumbed our nose in a king's face, sent him packing. And when fascists and emperors talked a little bit too loud, we showed up, tore their cities to the ground, and then rebuilt them just to prove we could. We put men on the moon, we won a Cold War, and we elected fearless leaders who led fearless people. What the hell happened to you, America? Back in my day, we didn't elect a big-eared community organizer. We punched him in the kidney. Maybe it's time you came home, America. Home where you belong.
We've all heard of male enhancement, but now there's an expert on true male enhancement in the areas that really count. In Herb Ellis's book, Husband 2.0, Real Male Enhancement, you'll find answers to questions like, why doesn't she want to have sex? A quick start, quick results workout guide, plus what you can do as a side hustle to make money now. With all the great tips in this book, every man can benefit. Get the book, Husband 2.0, Real Male Enhancement, on Amazon.com.
Tired of paying outrageous prices for Viagra? Well, we have great news for you. Now you can finally get Viagra at huge discounts. Healthy Man allows you to save up to $500 on Viagra. Why pay U.S. pharmacy prices of $15 per pill or more when you can get Viagra for less than $3 a pill? Call today and get 40 Viagra pills for only $99. This can cost as much as $600 at your local pharmacy. You can't afford not to call us. If you want Viagra at the lowest prices, never pay $15 a pill pharmacy prices again. Get Viagra for less than $3 a pill. Call 800-595-2614 today and save up to $500 and get 40 pills for just $99. Healthy Man is fast, easy, and affordable. Operators are waiting at 595-2614 to take your call now. Call 800-595-2614. That's 800-595-2614. Again, 800-595-2614.
It started with a knock, but it wouldn't end there. What happens in the story next, many wouldn't understand, and most wouldn't believe. 5 + 2 = Perfection by Samuel Rosette Jr. is a must-read. The scriptures within are reminders of the ancient past, and yet intriguingly infuses with texts which stand on the edge of the stage of relevancy. Available online at Westbow Press, Amazon, Books A Million, Barnes & Noble, and SamuelRosetteJr.com.
This is Free America broadcasting on the Rod Eccles Show with a message to all patriots trapped behind the lines in California, New York, Boston, and Chicago. Don't give up, true lovers of America. Even as we speak, moves are being made to drive the invaders back to the land from which they came. Defeat the would-be dictators and lift the chains of tyranny from around your neck. Stay strong. Stay brave. You're not forgotten, and you're not alone. Until next time, patriots, this is Free America signing out.
The most politically incorrect black man in America. You're listening to The Rod Eccles Show.
Now with the Dow Jones hitting 25,000 as expected this week, or definitely by the end of next week, there are a lot of people that are gaining a lot of wealth. Even just the average everyday American, the middle class person. And they can sell, they can sell out and take the profits. They're going to get hit with some, capital gains taxes, but they might be able to make quite a bit of money off of it if they do it properly. I'm not talking about day traders, but this is the important thing. But people don't realize that they're the ones that are making up the stock market. Sure, they're not doing it directly. So, they're giving their money to some professional, whether it be a mutual fund like Fidelity's Magellan Fund or something, which I think is closed now. You can't add any more money to that. But or you go to your local, let's just say Jones Reed franchise guy in downtown. You can do that. You don't have to just, or you can, what is the orange accounts are not called orange anymore, are they? You can, or the Scott trade, you can trade yourself. A lot of people do. Almost 60% of Americans are invested in the stock market. But if you listen to the liberal left, like people like Chuck Schumer, you would think that only the top 10% of the American population invest in stocks. It's only for the rich people. And so and people buy this. And then they think, well, okay, let's hit the rich hard on their capital gains. And then they go and sell their house or sell their stocks or retire and realize, hey, I'm not rich, but I'm getting hit with these capital gains. It's kind of like the alternative minimum tax. Anybody remember that? That was supposed to hit the rich too. Guess who it affects the most now? Oh, yeah, folks, that was by design. Don't doubt me.
Have you ever thought to yourself, I'm a leftist elite Hollywood a-hole? If so, good news. The Rod Eccles Hollywood Community College is now open, featuring such courses as unemployment is not paid vacation. No, Americans don't want to spend $19 for an order of French fries, and the ever popular shut the hell up. Why, just listen to this big-time celebrity endorsement.
I'm not Rosie O'Donnell, and I think this school's offensive, sexist, and racist.
And I think you're a giant a-hole who needs to shut the hell up. Hey, we teach a course in that. The Rod Eccles Hollywood Community College, where being an a-hole is not a guarantee you'll be an A student.
I considered suicide so I wouldn't put my family through all the pain.
Many of our warriors are returning home from the battlefield, only to face a new war as they struggle with devastating injuries. At Wounded Warrior Project, we understand. We're there to help.
Even though you think you're broken, you're not. It's the physical and the emotional healing that Wounded Warrior Project provides.
With a gift of just $19 a month, you can join Wounded Warrior Project. You'll help provide critically needed programs and services that rebuild lives.
Beautiful. Woo! There you go, buddy.
The ongoing needs of our wounded and their families will continue for many years to come. Now is the time to show your support. Call now or go online with your gift of just $19 a month, and we'll send you this Wounded Warrior Project blanket.
It made me feel that there's people out there that care about us.
After this event, we can finally maybe start to heal as a family and move forward.
We need your help. The families are hurting.
For many of our wounded heroes, the greatest casualty is being forgotten. That's why your gift of just $19 a month is so important. Please call or go online right now.
Think fast. In the short time it takes to listen to this message, a small flame can turn into a big fire. Several minutes more, and thick, poisonous smoke may have filled your lungs and reduced your ability to respond. Give it 5, and your entire home may be filled with flames.
Keep breathing. We've got you.
Don't let your world go up in smoke. Have working smoke alarms and always stay in the kitchen when cooking at high temperatures. Learn more at usfa.fema.gov because fire is everyone's fight.
And now, a message from the American Migraine Foundation.
It's an absolute nightmare. I was terrified. It was like your head's gonna explode.
Migraine is a disabling disease.
Just all of a sudden couldn't see.
Migraine has ruined my life.
Absolutely terrifying.
There's pain that does not stop.
It's a throbbing, pulsing, banging, hammering feeling in your head.
36 million Americans suffer.
I started getting migraines around 5 years old.
Just takes over everything.
I feel trapped by migraine.
It hurts like my head's gonna fall off.
And the whole world around you stops.
My world has gotten small. You feel like the world's closing in on you. There's nothing you can do.
I had spent a year housebound. It's like you're trapped in your head. There's no escaping it. You can't leave your body.
Don't suffer alone. Make your move against migraine. Visit AmericanMigraineFoundation.org to find help, learn more, and get connected.
It's Thursday night, and you're grabbing drinks with some friends. Started off with a pitcher for the table, which quickly becomes 2. There's pool. And there's the photo booth.
All right, everybody squeeze in. Say cheese!
Followed naturally by an order of wings. And another.
Can we get some extra ranch sauce?
Then there's the ceremonial nightcap.
So what are we doing this weekend?
And lastly, it's back to the car, which, if you're buzzed, could be the most expensive night of your life. Getting pulled over for buzz driving could cost you around $10,000 in fines, legal fees, and increased insurance rates. Nothing kills a buzz like getting pulled over for buzz driving, because buzz driving is drunk driving. Brought to you by the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration and the Ad Council.
The human voice. It can be sweet as music, powerful as thunder,
And so, my fellow Americans,
cheerful as laughter. But for millions of people, it can also be a sign of COPD. This serious lung disease can make it so hard to breathe, you often can't catch a breath or finish a sentence, let alone carry a tune. And many who have COPD don't even know it. That's where your voice comes in. If you think you or a loved one have symptoms, talk with a healthcare provider. Early diagnosis can mean better treatments and quality of life. Join us in raising our voices for the millions with COPD who can't. Learn more, breathe better at NIH.gov.
Every day, the men and women of the United States Marine Corps demonstrate their commitment to defend the American way of life. Since 1775, we have served our nation as a force in readiness. From combat operations to humanitarian assistance in every corner of the world. No matter where the mission takes us today, or wherever our country needs us tomorrow, we always remember the land we call home. As Marines, we take a stand for each other, for our nation, for us all. The few, the proud, the Marines.
Zinc Media. Feel the power of knowledge.
indeed. Welcome back. It is your lovable host coming straight at you for hour number 2 here on the Rod Eccles Show. Here it is, Monday, December number 4 in the year of our Lord 2017. And we roll on here this sunny Monday morning up here in northern New England. So welcome back to all of you liberty lovers and ecclesiastites all across the globe, plus you new listeners out there. As I understand, there are new, I turn on, I like how I say that, turn on. You don't, well, I guess you can't turn, well, it's always on, so you don't turn it on, I suppose. But anyway, because this is what we used to say about television. You know, back in the day, anybody remember a time when television wasn't 24/7? Networks, TV stations, and networks actually went off the air. By the way, I think that was a regulation. I'm not going to get into the whole over-regulation thing, but I do believe that it was a regulation they couldn't be on 24/7. Now, maybe I have that a little bit mixed up or wrong, but if I remember correctly, that is how it turned out to be. And by the way, HBO actually was invented and first broadcast in 1972. Let that sink in for you. But remember when networks used to sign off at night? Now, I do. Not only would they sign off, but they would sign off with the national anthem. And then they would sign on with the national anthem. If you got up early enough. Now, the only time I used to, when I was a kid, the only time I ever really, not on purpose, but the only time I ever got up early enough to see a TV station sign on was on a Sunday morning. Yeah, for what? Not even Saturday morning. You want to get up for cartoons and everything. That's back in the day when they actually had cartoons on for like 4 or 5 hours every Saturday morning. I have a hard. There are times I just want to get up on Saturday and watch cartoons and relive my childhood. There aren't any cartoons on. Even Cartoon Network has got junk. It's sad. Our children are missing out on their childhood by not having cartoons on Saturday mornings. But the only time I ever got up in order to see a network sign on for their daily broadcast schedule was Sunday morning. And right after that, it was, anybody remember Davy and Goliath? Yeah, the dog was Goliath and Davy. Yeah, I know, it was a Christian bait. You can't have that on TV now. Oh, God. Extremely overtly Christian-based television program on a network. Today, people have a fit. Separation, church and state, man. You can't have that on the air like that. But yeah, right when it was like 6 a.m. and you had they were half-hour programs. You had a whole hour of Davy and Goliath, and that's when the networks. But of course, now they're on 24/7. 24/7. So they never sign off. Even some of the cable networks, they don't, when they stop broadcasting their own, they don't sign off the air. Now I think the regulation is the other way. I don't think they can sign off, can they? They can't have open or dead space. So they sell off their airtime that they don't have programmed to all these This is why you see all those infomercials late at night. If you're an insomniac, or if you're a third shifter and you're on break and you're in the break room trying to watch some TV, all you're going to see is a bunch of infomercials. And that's where they get people, by the way. Brain activity is at its lowest at around 3 a.m. Did you realize that? In other words, your reason center is at its lowest point because you're supposed to be sleeping, so your reason doesn't have to be at work. Doesn't have to be working. So your reason center in your brain is at its lowest point at around 3 a.m. And if you're up at that particular hour, your logic and reason center is at its lowest point. And if you're a liberal, gads, you already don't have any logic or reason. Can you imagine it being any lower? Well, that's when you get all those get-rich-quick things, popping up. And that's why people buy. That's why they buy all that stuff, because their reason. But when they get the stuff, they say, man, I was an idiot for buying this. Look, I know what it's like. I've done it. Anybody remember the get-rich-quick real estate gurus from way back in the day? Yeah, Dave Delgado. Anybody? Dave Delgado's not with us anymore. He committed suicide because he was having troubles with the IRS and I think he was going to jail. But, 90s. Dave Delgado. Who else was there? Was Carlton Sheets, Charles Givens. There was a whole. Was it Timothy or Tom Vu? Now there was a shady character, man. He looked shady on TV, and I do believe that he did go to jail for fraud and stuff. We're talking, going back into the 80s now. Geez. But they've always been on. And they've always bought because it's cheap airtime. Well, it's not just because it's cheap. It's also because it works. Because people, their logic center is at its lowest point. And if you've got a product or service that really needs to ignore somebody's logic center, well, the best time to show your product or service in an infomercial is between the hours of 1 a.m. and 5 a.m. You'll get the biggest bang for your buck. Now, look, that's not me saying this is market research. Anybody can go out there and find this market research. They can just do a Google search or a DuckDuckGo search. You'll find it, and it'll corroborate what I'm telling you. I mean, when it comes to this kind of stuff, there are times in the day. Look, advertisers and marketers know the best time of day to hit you with different types of things. Because they know when people are watching or paying attention, and it doesn't matter what venue you're on. Now social media or online media is a little bit different because it's just targeted towards you and what your interests are. But as far as mass media like radio or television is concerned, there are times of day when it's best to hit you up. Advertise certain types of things to you. Now, obviously, around just before lunch, just before dinner, it's good to hit you up on what? Yeah, food advertisements. In the mornings, guess what it's best to hit you up? Yeah, the typical breakfast fare, like orange juice, coffee. Now, pay attention to this stuff next. You're going to see a lot more. You're going to pay attention when you're watching TV or what have you, or listening to the radio. You'll notice these things at different times of the day. The marketing or advertising tends to change. It's the same with politics, too, by the way. The exact same thing with politics. Depending on the time, not necessarily time of day, but the time of the year or the cycle, you're going to get politicians saying and doing certain things that are more likely to get your attention. Especially the closer it gets to an actual election. Now, I know we all like to say, well, the politicians, when it comes around election time, they promise us all kinds of stuff. That is true, but they do other things too. They do other things too. Now, I'm actually kind of surprised by the Senate getting off their duffs and actually doing some work with the whole tax cut thing. Because for one, it's a little bit soon. Now, understand that Congress, these people, they do a lot of stuff when it starts to get into the election season. And right now, it's a little bit too soon. Because this time, the election is still almost a year away of 2018. So it's a little bit, now start paying attention to this stuff. You're going to start seeing, even though you still have a bunch of, anti-Trumpers in Congress, you're going to start seeing a shift around late spring, early summer. If Donald Trump still has strong numbers, strong support, you're going to see a shift, even from the anti-Trumpers. Because the Democrats are going to go full on anti-Trump. You know they are. But Republicans, since they want to get reelected, you're going to start seeing a shift of some of them not embracing Donald, but coming around to embracing some of his policies that they know the American people want. So pay attention, and it's only going to happen during the election. Because if they're reelected once the election's over, they will go back to being full-blown anti-Trump. Trust me on this. This is just the way it works. They know marketing just as well as anybody else does, by the way. Politicians do. And they hire people who know marketing just as well as anybody else does. So this is the way it's going to go down. So you better pay attention and don't fall for this stuff. I'm telling you right, they understand that they were so anti-Trump for so long that they probably have to start a little bit earlier, moving in the direction of being non-anti-Trump. Because you can't all of a sudden, 1 month, April, be anti-Trump, and then May all of a sudden start embracing Trump's ideas. People are not going to buy it because that's an extreme. It really is. But you'll start to see them maneuver towards just the tax thing. These people all what were we told? Last April and May, we were we might not get the tax cuts this year. Anybody remember that? We might not get to the tax revamp or tax cuts this year. McConnell, the president just doesn't understand how long this stuff takes in D.C. Democracy takes a while. Not really, but that's what he said. So we may not even get to, because the failure to repeal Obamacare. Now, I bet you if they can bring Obamacare, the repeal of Obamacare back in the next quarter, the first quarter of 2018, I bet you it will get repealed. I bet you there will be some no votes that'll flip to yes votes of repealing it because the election cycle is coming around and they're up for re-election. Guarantee you. I also bet that they know this, so they're going to try not to bring it forward. But they fully understand the marketing aspect of politics is all about marketing too. It really is. I mean, that was the one thing that Richard Nixon didn't have in his corner when he the first time he ran for president against John F. Kennedy. Kennedy was the first television president. Everybody got to see him up close. The full head of hair, the square jawline, the good looks, the stern eyes. Oh yeah, don't misunderstand that the look of John F. Kennedy helped propel him to winning versus Richard. I mean, look at the two. Richard Nixon had a funny, curved, big nose. He looked like a cartoon character. He had that jawline and those jowls. He had the jowls, ever since he turned 30. He compared to John F. Kennedy, Nixon was a caricature. He was not a handsome man. And he was shorter than Kennedy. All of that played into... You wouldn't notice that without television. It was marketing. You're going to get that today. You're going to get marketing. We've gotten marketing. And now sometimes the marketing works and sometimes it doesn't. Look, they're trying to market Trump as being crazy. That didn't work. They try to market Trump as being, unpresidential. That didn't work. Which is why these people get on the bandwagon. You hear them, when you flip the channel, you go from one station to the next, from one network to the next, and they're all saying exactly the same word or same line. It's all marketing. You're being marketed to, and half the time you don't even realize it. They're playing you. Because there are certain things at certain times of the day that work on you. And if you think you're not affected by marketing, you better think again. Because if you're not affected by marketing, then why do you call facial tissue Kleenex? All facial tissue is not Kleenex. That was marketing. And you can find a bunch of stuff similar to that, where we call something by a name brand when it's not really. What do you call two chocolate flavored cookies with a creamy filling sandwich between them? You call them an Oreo. But there are a lot of cookies like that are not Oreos. But what do we call them? Oreos. Just saying. You got to pay attention to the marketing because they will twist the facts on you. And before you know it, at a certain time of day, you'll buy the fact. You'll buy the fiction as fact. And then by the time you when somebody tries to tell you that your facts are really fiction, you're going to fight against them. You're not going to believe them. Well, here, I'm only going to tell you the truth. The truth is that you're always being marketed to, including politicians. And the reason why we're starting to see this maneuvering towards embracing Trump and his ideas and ideals is because we've got an election coming up in 2018. And many of those up for re-election understand now that they could be in trouble if they don't start embracing at least some of Trump's stuff. Because some of Trump's stuff really is logical and conservative in nature. And that they better get on board and start doing it. Stop appearing to be anti-Trump, even if they remain anti-Trump. But I'm telling you, don't fall for it.
You're listening to the Rod Eccles Show, the coolest, most politically incorrect, conservative black man on the planet.
Tired of paying outrageous prices for Viagra? Well, we have great news for you. Now you can finally get Viagra at huge discounts. Healthy Man allows you to save up to $500 on Viagra. Why pay U.S. pharmacy prices of $15 per pill or more when you can get Viagra for less than $3 a pill? Call today and get 40 Viagra pills for only $99. This can cost as much as $600 at your local pharmacy. You can't afford not to call us. If you want Viagra at the lowest prices, never pay $15 a pill pharmacy prices again. Get Viagra for less than $3 a pill. Call 800-595-2614 today and save up to $500 and get 40 pills for just $99. Healthy Man is fast, easy, and affordable. Operators are waiting at 595-2614 to take your call now. Call 800-595-2614. That's 800-595-2614. Again, 800-595-2614.
We've all heard of male enhancement, but now there's an expert on true male enhancement in the areas that really count. In Herb Ellis's book, Husband 2.0, Real Male Enhancement, you'll find answers to questions like, why doesn't she want to have sex? A quick start, quick results workout guide, plus what you can do as a side hustle to make money now. With all the great tips in this book, every man can benefit. Get the book, Husband 2.0, Real Male Enhancement, on Amazon.com.
It started with a knock, but it wouldn't end there. What happens in the story next, many wouldn't understand, and most wouldn't believe. 5 + 2 = Perfection by Samuel Rosette Jr. is a must-read. The scriptures within are reminders of the ancient past, and yet intriguingly infuses with texts which stand on the edge of the stage of relevancy. Available online at Westbow Press, Amazon, Books A Million, Barnes & Noble, and SamuelRosetteJr.com.
You know, a couple of weeks ago, a long-haired young person came into our bank and said to me, I bet you won't lend me money to buy an electric guitar. Well, he was making $100 a week, and he was over 18, and I said, I bet you I will lend you money to buy an electric guitar. And I did. So what happens? The punk gets busted for possession of dangerous drugs, and we're out $350. There's one thing about kids nowadays. You don't have to give them credit.
Universal Bank. We trust you. About as far as we can throw you.
careful with the marketing of these people. When it comes down to politics, well, you got to just pay attention to marketing, period, because they will twist your mind, and before you know it, you won't even know what it is. We got another Christmas song here. It's that time in the program to give you a Christmas song. Here's an from Indie, which is an indie Christmas from their indie Christmas album. I do believe that's what I have here. Their version of Mr. Grinch. It's pretty cool, actually. It's not what you're going to expect. It's not what you expect, but give a listen from Indie Christmas, Mr. Grinch.
Mr. Grinch, you really are a heel. You're as cuddly as a cactus, you're as charming as an eel, Mr. Grinch. You're that banana with a greasy black peel. Greasy black peel. You're a monster, Mr. Grinch. Spiders, you got garlic in your soul, Mr. Grinch. I will touch you with a 39 1/2-foot pole. You're a foul one, Mr. Grinch. A nasty, rusty soul. Your heart is full of unwashed socks. Your soul is full of gunk, Mr. Grinch.
The 3 words that best describe you are as follows, and I quote.
Stink, stank, star. Crocodile, Mr. Grinch.
And given the choice between the two of you,
you're a robber, Mr. Grinch. You're the king of sinful thoughts. Your heart's a dead tomato splotch with moldy purple spots, Mr. Grinch.
Your soul is an appalling dump heap, overflowing with the most disgraceful assortment of deplorable rubbish imaginable, mangled up in,
tangled up now.
The Grinch. The Grinch. The
Dad, we need to talk.
Can we just enjoy the drive?
If you're not going to listen to me, who will we listen to?
Jeffrey. Marcia Gay Harden, what?
Eyes on the road, Dad.
What are you doing? What are you doing in my back seat? How did you get in here?
You're getting older.
Not that old.
Your brain's changing. It's natural.
Yeah, that's what I was saying.
Honey, I've got experience with this. Jeffrey, brain health is all about making the most of your brain as you age and helping to reduce some of the risks to your brain.
Really? Now that's interesting.
So, you'll talk to her about this, but not me. Marcia Gay Harden? Where did she go?
Learn what you can do to help keep your brain healthy at brainhealth.gov. She didn't say goodbye. I mean, I would have. Visit brainhealth.gov.
Every day, 70,000 puppies or kittens are born in the U.S. Cute, right? What's not cute is that half of all litters are accidents, which leads to millions killed in shelters each year. Turns out, those little cuties can get pregnant sooner than you think. But here's the good news. You can stop the accident before it happens. When you bring home a pet, get them fixed at 4 months old. Prevent more. Fix at month 4. Visit fixat4.com for more information. Brought to you by Best Friends Animal Society.
There's a threat targeting America. One that's growing fast, but may still be hard to see. Lyme disease. Spread by tiny ticks, often smaller than the head of a pin. This dangerous disease is now more widespread than West Nile, tuberculosis, and HIV/AIDS combined. And if left untreated, it can lead to arthritis, facial paralysis, and even memory and concentration problems, often called brain fog. As the threat of Lyme disease grows to more than 300,000 projected cases each year, it's time for us to target Lyme disease. That means checking for ticks when you've been outside, even in your own backyard. It means seeing a doctor if you experience the symptoms of Lyme disease, which can include joint pain, flu-like symptoms, fever, fatigue, or sometimes a bullseye-shaped rash. Set your sights on stopping Lyme. Learn how you can target Lyme disease at targetlyme.org.
Battles aren't won solely on the field. That's a common misconception. Battles are won within, over enemies of fear, enemies of doubt. In that place where promises are kept. Promises to oneself.
This is a physical training event.
Promises to one's community.
Healthy people move debris out of their house.
Promises to one's country. In the heart of every Marine, you'll find a promise. A promise forever kept. A promise of battles won.
We're here early before they wake up. We stay late. We stay informed. We invest in the latest technology.
We take the time to train the next generation of doctors and nurses. We work together to make sure we heal their bodies and their minds.
We do this not because it's our job, but because this is about our veterans' lives. This is our mission. More than 300,000 of us working as one, together with families and loved ones. No matter where they live in this country, we'll be there.
We all come together and stand together to serve our veterans. We stand strong, united. Stand with us in caring for our veterans.
Hi, this is Kelsey Grammer. When military service members head into battle, none are expected to face the enemy alone, but many return home and become isolated as they struggle with the visible and invisible wounds of war. It can be difficult knowing how to overcome that challenge and rekindle bonds similar to those formed in the military. Wounded Warrior Project supports these injured veterans through their recoveries by connecting them with fellow warriors and their communities. No one should fight this battle alone. Join us at woundedwarriorproject.org.
This just in, basically earlier this morning. I try to keep my finger on the pulse of America and the pulse of the planet, but sometimes you miss certain things, or sometimes it just doesn't interest me, or sometimes it takes a little bit more research, or sometimes it seems apropos to mention it when I get it. Like, for instance, this little piece, which states the president is expected to announce a tremendous reduction in the size of the Utah national monuments. Yes, indeed. Now, I know a lot of people are asking, what the hell is a national monument? I mean, is that like Thomas Jefferson's, statue and the memorial? Is that a monument like the Washington Monument in Washington D.C.? Is that a monument you're talking? No. Monuments are actually similar. They're a protected area, protected by the federal government. They're similar to the U.S. National Park System. However, unlike the national park, the national monument can be created by landowner controlled by the federal government. Any land that is controlled or owned by the federal government, and it can be done so by proclamation of the President of the U.S. of A. So in other words, the government can just move in, take somebody's land for whatever reason, the old wonderful eminent domain, and then once they get control of it, it can be declared a national monument, much like a national park. Now they can be managed, and this is the problem with this huge fiasco type of crap. Now, look, I'm not against preserving certain lands in certain parts. I mean, it's a good thing that they actually stepped in and preserved the Grand Canyon. Can you imagine having a bunch of, urban sprawl on the Grand Canyon? That's where it was headed, by the way, for people to understand. Now, look, I'm a staunch conservative, but I believe that there are areas that should be left unspoiled for all to enjoy. Indeed, yes. The plans were, way back in the day, was to build, sprawling urban development, suburbs, along the banks, if you will, the cliff's edge of the Grand Canyon. Of course, obviously, if you had a view of the canyon itself, you'd pay more for that property than you would for property that didn't have a view of the canyon. But that's what they wanted to do. And the government stepped in and said, nope, not going to do that. We're going to protect it. So there is a cause for it. Now, is it completely constitutional? There are some that argue yes and some that argue no. But in any case, because the federal government really isn't supposed to own a whole hell of a lot of property, it's outside of the needs of the use of the federal government, such as military bases and federal government buildings like courthouses and such. Should the federal government actually own parkland? That's the question of within the Constitution, and some constitutionalists say yes, it's within the purveyance because it's useful for the government to own some of this land because it can be used for other avenues such as defense. Which Area 51, the whole Area 51 technically is not a military base. But it does serve a purpose for the federal government. So there are people that say yes, there is precedence for it, and then other constitutionalists say no. They serve no purpose for the federal government, and it should only be protected by state governments. But in any case, he wants to reduce the size of the Utah national monuments. Now, the monuments can be managed by several different agencies, again, which is a problem. Instead of having it under one office, it could be spread out, or one monument can be controlled by one department, and another monument can be controlled by another department, such as the National Park Service, the United States Forest Service, the Fish and Wildlife Service, the Bureau of Land Management, and even by the War Department, which is now the Department of Defense. Thus, Area 51, which is not construed as... I don't think Area 51 is really construed as a national monument. But there you have it, which is why some people are saying, some constitutionalists say that it is constitutional for the federal government to have national monuments, because at one point, the Department of War, or War Department, before it was called the Department of Defense, did maintain and run some national monuments. But in any case, it would take a hell of a lot more time than I'm going to give it this morning to explain and to help list some of the national monuments, because Americans just don't know this stuff. We're going to have to get into this at another time. But NBC News, as well as just about every other outlet, is reporting that Trump is expected to announce a plan to shrink Utah national monuments. Now, you have to understand that a lot of the stuff that Trump is talking about reducing was arbitrarily increased by the Obama administration and President Obama in order to keep people from exploring for natural resources, especially that awful stuff called oil. Yeah, because you can't do drilling. You can't do mineral excavation in national parks and national monuments. It takes, you got to go through so many hoops, laced with flames and everything else in order to do that. And when it becomes a national park or national monument, it's almost an impossibility. So that's why some of this stuff was done. There was no other reason to expand some of these Utah national monuments or other monuments across the country that Trump is also looking at reducing, other than to keep people from exploring it and exploiting the natural resources in those places. That was the only reason. I mean, because, he expanded some national monuments, and even people on the left are like scratching their heads. Even some people who are, all these naturalists and everything, keep human beings out of, most of the planet, just put them all in one place on the earth. Even they were scratching their heads trying to figure out why he was doing, expanding some national monuments the way he was. But so Trump is expected to reverse some of that by planning to shrink. One part about problem with politics is this stuff can go back and forth. We can't have, obviously we can't have stuff that can never be reversed or changed. I get that. But at the same time, this president can reverse what the previous president did, and the president after Trump can just go back and say, well, I'm just going to make these monuments again. It can keep going back and forth. That is one problem with having a free society or democracy like ours. And it often happens, by the way. Now, it's usually not on big, important stuff like this, but it often, look at the regulations that Trump is eliminating and reducing. Well, the next presidential administration can come in and say, well, you know what? We liked all those regulations that President Trump eliminated. We're going to bring them back. They can do that. That's the problem with this type of stuff. It's a big problem. So this stuff has got to be more controlled. I do believe, yes. So it's more stable. Because otherwise it's very difficult for people to operate, for business to operate, for people to operate. I don't know. Okay, so and am I going to buy this piece of property because there's a national monument or park behind me, and nobody can ever develop it? And then of course a new administration comes along and strips the designation. Next thing you know, you got a full-on suburb being built behind you. Hey, you never know. So, because this stuff just changes, it can change too rapidly it's kind of like way back in the day when measurements were, in some societies, were all askew because, the measurement went by the size of the king's foot and arms and fingers and stuff. So every time you got a new king, measurements changed. And nobody could keep up with that. Which is why we look at some stuff today and we wonder, well, what the hell were they measuring? Well, they were measuring the king's foot. That was the measurement of the day. The king or the emperor or the pharaoh or what have you. We like to call, there are things, it was a cubit. And what the hell's a cubit? We're not exactly sure because it always changed. You can go back to some measure, some ancient buildings that are still standing, and a cubit is one size, and then within the same ancient city, another building, which was built by a different emperor or king, it was still used cubits, but it was a different size. Because they went by the king's foot and forearm and fingers and hands and all. It's ridiculous. But that's the way we used to do things until things became more standardized. So what we need to do is standardize this stuff more in the government, and we need to standardize and eliminate the ability of government departments of implementing certain types of regulation. Now, you got to understand, this was Congress allowing this to happen was abdicating their constitutional duty to write law. Do you realize that all these departments write the equivalent of law? Rules and regulations have the same weight and function as law, except it doesn't have to go through Congress at all. It doesn't have to be signed by the president. They can just come up with regulation. And if you break the rules of the regulation that have been written by some bureaucrat, they have the same cause and effect as if you broke a law. Oftentimes, breaking a regulation is more severe than breaking a law. You go to jail over breaking regulations. And oftentimes people get them confused. Regulations and law, they get them confused. They're not the same. A law has to be, when it comes to a federal law, it has to be written and passed by Congress and signed by the president. Or a veto of the law must be overridden by Congress. That's how it becomes law. Now, and that's the way it is in all 50 states. Your state legislature, your state rep and representatives and senators, they pass a bill into law, and the governor signs it, or they override a governor's veto. That's how it becomes law in the state. But they also have regulations. Individual states have regulations. Because these wonderful lawmakers abdicate their authority and give it to some bureaucrat so they can keep their hands off it. Well, hey, we didn't make it a law. They just made it a regulation. We have no control over that, which is BS because you do. You gave them the power. You can strip them of the power to do that. Pretty simple. Now, does the president have the power to make these designations? Well, yeah, Teddy Roosevelt did it going back to 1906. Now, but there were people back then that said that was unconstitutional. But nobody ever did anything about it. And so now we're left with some presidents who are just overtly hate the American people, or just overtly liberal, and they will do what Obama did. And of course, you might have some more sane. Now, I don't know. People are saying that Trump is going way overboard in reducing the size of wanting to reduce some of the size of these monuments. I don't know. Maybe. I haven't seen his list or how far he wants to shrink it. But the expected announcement is in keeping with a recommendation from the Interior Secretary Ryan Zink, Z-I-N-K-E, or is it Zinke? And will come 2 days after thousands gathered at the state capitol in Salt Lake City to protest the anticipated reductions. Documents obtained by the Associated Press and the Washington Post show the administration plans to reduce the 1.3 million acre monument by nearly 85%. The plan aims to shrink Grand Staircase Escalante by almost half. Now, former President Obama designated Bears Ears last year in an effort to protect land that several Native American tribes consider sacred. Many Republicans and rural residents loathe the move, calling it federal overreach and saying it blocked energy development. That's what it was all about, as I have said. Don't doubt me.
I'm not Rod Eccles, and I approve this message.
Tired of paying outrageous prices for Viagra? Well, we have great news for you. Now you can finally get Viagra at huge discounts. Healthy Man allows you to save up to $500 on Viagra. Why pay U.S. pharmacy prices of $15 per pill or more when you can get Viagra for less than $3 a pill? Call today and get 40 Viagra pills for only $99. This can cost as much as $600 at your local pharmacy. You can't afford not to call us. If you want Viagra at the lowest prices, never pay $15 a pill pharmacy prices again. Get Viagra for less than $3 a pill. Call 800-595-2614 today and save up to $500 and get 40 pills for just $99. Healthy Man is fast, easy, and affordable. Operators are waiting at 595-2614 to take your call now. Call 800-595-2614. That's 800-595-2614. Again, 800-595-2614.
We've all heard of male enhancement, but now there's an expert on true male enhancement in the areas that really count. In Herb Ellis's book, Husband 2.0, Real Male Enhancement, you'll find answers to questions like, why doesn't she want to have sex? A quick start, quick results workout guide, plus what you can do as a side hustle to make money now. With all the great tips in this book, every man can benefit. Get the book, Husband 2.0, Real Male Enhancement, on Amazon.com.
It started with a knock, but it wouldn't end there. What happens in the story next, many wouldn't understand, and most wouldn't believe. 5 + 2 = Perfection by Samuel Rosette Jr. is a must-read. The scriptures within are reminders of the ancient past, and yet intriguingly infuses with texts which stand on the edge of the stage of relevancy. Available online at Westbow Press, Amazon, Books A Million, Barnes & Noble, and SamuelRosetteJr.com.
A couple of weeks ago, a long-haired young person came into our bank and said, "I'll bet you're a Nazi." Well, I love America, support the Constitution, and believe in capitalism. So I told him I'm not a Nazi, and I'm not. So what happens? The punk breaks out 2 windows and pepper sprays an elderly woman in the face. You know, there's one thing about long-haired young people nowadays. They're real assholes. Long-haired young people. You suck.
You're listening to The Rod Eccles Show.
There is a potentially new syndrome out there, health syndrome. It is called POIS, or POIS, P-O-I-S. Now, folks, hang on to your hats on this one, or I should say, hang on to your pants, your belt. I would say underwear, but some guys run around out there what they call free balling. They don't wear underwear. Believe it or not, yeah, there's people out there that don't. Now, a lot of people say that's unsanitary, but they're just like sleeping in the nude. There are some health benefits to not wearing underwear, as there are health benefits to wearing underwear. So it's half a dozen of one and 6 of the other, right? But there are some reproductive benefits of not wearing underwear, by the way. It turns out that see God designed the human body for a specific reason, and it turns out the reason why guys' reproductive organs are on the outside of the body is because they need to be a little bit cooler, because heat destroys sperm. And the problem with underwear, most men wear underwear that's too small or too tight, which holds the sperm too close to the body, which heats it up. So there is reproductive benefits to not wearing underwear because it allows your sperm to be kept at a cooler temperature than your 98.7 degrees body temperature. Believe it or not, that's the way it works. Sorry, that's the way it is. But there's something new coming down the pike. And this is now women should like this because this only seems to affect men. So far, this is what they found. It's called POIS, or it is called post-orgasmic illness syndrome. POIS. Post-orgasmic illness syndrome. I kid you not. This is reported in the sun.co.uk. It's a illness that causes flu-like symptoms they start immediately after you've had sex. Yes. In other words, they're asking the question, do you guys, do you get a stuffy nose, fatigue, and sweats after you've had sex? Well, it's not because your performance was so mind-blowing that your body couldn't handle or cope with the orgasmic feeling, but you might be actually allergic to sex. Yes, that's right. That's right. Post-orgasmic illness syndrome, POIS, is an actual medical condition. This supposed rare condition causes flu-like symptoms to start immediately after you've ejaculated. It was first documented in 2002, and there have been more than 50 cases recorded so far worldwide, but the number could be even higher if men have not heard of the condition before and have not reported the symptoms. A recent paper from Tulane University School of Medicine in New Orleans noted POIS is a rare condition that is underdiagnosed and underreported, meaning that it's probably not so rare, according to these people. I'm sure there's going to be somebody that comes out with a pill. Hey, pop your Viagra, then pop your anti-POIS pill. So you don't... You don't, folks. I'm not making this stuff up, and I know this is a little bit funny because it comes into play with all the sexual scandal crap that's going on. I got some more news, and we'll get to on this stuff too. We'll get right after the break, top of the hour break. But folks, yeah, now you can now men, no ladies, listen to this. It doesn't happen to you, according to this story in the report. There are no female recorded cases of POIS yet. It's all male orientated. So I don't know. Maybe you should look at your male counterpart a little bit differently now. He's willing to risk catching flu-like symptoms by laying with you. Just saying, it's a sacrifice now. Sex is a sacrifice.
It was just another quiet Saturday at the Johnson home.
Honey, have you seen the hammer?
It's in the garage.
Oh, no, not the garage.
Later that same day...
Dad, I can't find the bicycle pump.
Son, I'm afraid it's in the garage.
The garage?
Then the following Tuesday...
Howard, where's the car?
It's in the garage.
Does your garage look like a giant yard sale without the yard? Do you cringe at the thought of entering your garage? Then you need Crest Garage Cabinets. With one phone call, those wonderful folks at Crest will come out to your home, design the best combination of cabinets for you, and install them quickly and professionally before your very eyes.
It's a miracle.
And unlike other companies who ask for a down payment or money up front, you won't pay a penny until your Crest cabinets are installed to your satisfaction. So call Crest today, toll-free at 1-800-548-2848. That's 1-800-548-2848. And you'll never fear going into your garage again.
And now, a message from the American Migraine Foundation.
It's an absolute nightmare. I was terrified. It was like your head's gonna explode.
Migraine is a disabling disease.
Just all of a sudden couldn't see.
Migraine has ruined my life.
Absolutely terrifying.
There's pain that does not stop.
It's a throbbing, pulsing, banging, hammering feeling in your head.
36 million Americans suffer.
I started getting migraines around 5 years old.
Just takes over everything.
I feel trapped by migraine.
It hurts like my head's gonna fall off.
And the whole world around you stops.
My world has gotten small.
You feel like the world's closing in on you. There's nothing you can do.
I had spent a year housebound. It's like you're trapped in your head. There's no escaping it. You can't leave your body.
Don't suffer alone. Make your move against migraine. Visit AmericanMigraineFoundation.org to find help, learn more, and get connected.
The Red Cross responds to nearly 66,000 disasters every year, most of them house fires. Red Cross President and CEO Gail McGovern says you need to develop an evacuation plan and practice it, especially with your children. It takes just 2 minutes for a home to be engulfed in flames.
Practice those drills. We all think our kids know what to do. They don't.
We need to teach them. We have started a large campaign where we're going into vulnerable communities and helping install smoke alarms. Already 92 lives were saved, and 4 of those lives were saved by a 5-year-old girl who remembered what we taught them during these fire drills, and she got her family out. We also have a slew of free apps that people can download onto their smartphones. It's what to do in every kind of disaster you can imagine, how to prepare and how to recover.
To help support all the Red Cross does and to make a financial donation, go to redcross.org. That's redcross.org.
It's Thursday night, and you're grabbing drinks with some friends. Started off with a pitcher for the table, which quickly becomes 2. There's pool. And there's the photo booth.
All right, everybody squeeze in. Say cheese!
Followed naturally by an order of wings. And another.
Can we get some extra ranch sauce?
Then there's the ceremonial nightcap.
So what are we doing this weekend?
And lastly, it's back to the car, which, if you're buzzed, could be the most expensive night of your life. Getting pulled over for buzzed driving could cost you around $10,000 in fines, legal fees, and increased insurance rates. Nothing kills a buzz like getting pulled over for buzzed driving, because buzzed driving is drunk driving. Brought to you by the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration and the Ad Council.
The human voice. It can be sweet as music, powerful as thunder,
and so, my fellow Americans,
cheerful as laughter. But for millions of people, it can also be a sign of COPD. This serious lung disease can make it so hard to breathe, you often can't catch a breath or finish a sentence, let alone carry a tune. And many who have COPD don't even know it. That's where your voice comes in. If you think you or a loved one have symptoms, talk with a healthcare provider. Early diagnosis can mean better treatments and quality of life. Join us in raising our voices for the millions with COPD who can't. Learn more, breathe better at NIH.gov.
On the battlefield, there's a saying America's military men and women live by. Never leave a fallen warrior behind. Ever. Off the battlefield, Wounded Warrior Project operates with the same goal. We leave no warrior behind. Wounded Warrior Project is a non-profit organization created to help our men and women returning home with the scars of war. Whether those scars are physical or mental, we're here to make sure that they heal. And whether it's helping those with post-traumatic stress disorder live a normal life again, or giving much-needed support to injured warriors in veterans' hospitals. Because no one deserves our help more than the men and women who risk their lives to keep us safe. Wounded Warrior Project. We never leave a fallen warrior behind. Ever. Learn more about what we do at woundedwarriorproject.org.
Every day, the men and women of the United States Marine Corps demonstrate their commitment to defend the American way of life. Since 1775, we have served our nation as a force in readiness. From combat operations to humanitarian assistance in every corner of the world. No matter where the mission takes us today, or wherever our country needs us tomorrow, we always remember the land we call home. As Marines, we take a stand for each other, for our nation, for us all, the few, the proud, the Marines.
You want to know what time it is? It's time to bring the rain.
Zinc Media. Feel the power of knowledge.
black man on the planet. Yes, indeed. Hour number 3 here on the Rod Eccles Show. Welcome back. Fastest 3 hours on Internet Talk Radio is right here, powered by Zinc Media Arts. Glad that you are here on this Monday, December number 4 in the year of our Lord 2017. Welcome back to all you liberty lovers and ecclesiastites all across the globe. And you new members, you new people who are trying to become an ecclesiastite. You may already be a liberty lover if you're a new listener, but you're not an ecclesiastite yet. As I've explained before, an ecclesiastite is somebody who constantly searches for and learns the knowledge of the truth. And then they turn around and they teach that same truth to other people. So it takes a while to become an ecclesiastite of this program, because you have to listen for it. You can't just listen to one day or even a week. You're going to need to listen on a regular basis for at least 6 months in order to even be construed as being an ecclesiastite. But in any case, welcome back. Finishing up with this, the story of the last hour, the last segment, about the sex stuff. Well, did you know that the POIS, yes, the post-orgasmic illness syndrome, you know, that it can produce flu-like symptoms after ejaculation. Now, the symptoms may occur within seconds, minutes, or even a few hours after ejaculation. Now, here's the scary part, guys. And women, pay attention, because you might have a guy who suffers through this for you. These flu-like symptoms can last after ejaculation for up to 7 days. Now, I know some people are going to go into work and see, and hey, does Doug really have the flu, or did he just have sex? You know, you guys who try to sneak around. Now, if you suffer from POIS, post-orgasmic illness syndrome, you're probably not going to be able to get away with it unless you want to drug yourself up with like Theraflu or something. Seriously, evidently, this is a real thing. The post-orgasmic illness syndrome is a real thing. And guys this is only for men, by the way. Women don't seem to say, well, I know some people are saying, well, that's because women, they fake orgasm, Rod. They don't really have it a lot anyway. I don't know if that's true or not, but there you go. Guys are the only ones so far who suffer from, have been found to suffer from post-orgasmic illness syndrome, which was first recorded and came to light in 2002. They claim it's a rare condition, but the vast majority of men either don't know about it or don't report it if they do know about it. So it may not be so rare after all. But with this, on the flip side, there's something that's good about sex. You can actually get your 40 kinks out of it. Can't get to sleep? Why, having sex before bed is a secret to drifting off. Sex guaranteed a better night's sleep for 2/3 of people, but only if you hit the G spot. So women, this is for you now. Sex could be the secret to getting a good night's sleep, but only if you hit the G spot. New research has found that 2/3 of people slept better after having sex, but only if it involved an orgasm for both parties. Is this a story or a piece that promotes, sex with one person? Masturbation? Well, I mean, if you're the only one that gets off and you're the only one involved, then I guess you're going to get a good night's sleep. But but I don't know. They may have to revise this, because if you're a male that suffers from POIS, you might have to go, you take your Viagra before you have sex, and then after sex, they're going to have to come up with like an after-sex sinus pill or something, anti-flu-like symptom pill. I don't know what they call it. I'm not into that kind of marketing. But there you go. So you take one pill before and one pill after sex, and then you'll be able to get to sleep. Yeah. Pop a pill before and pop a pill after. That's the way. That's what the world is coming to when it comes to the natural order of sex. Forget it, keeping it natural. We gotta sex up sex somehow by popping pills all over the place. But why is all this important? Well, it may be in the greater scheme of things, poise and anti-insomnia is not the real important thing, but it might explain why some people do what they do, especially men, when it comes to this massive sex scandal as it grows a little bit more. New York Times is reporting that the Metropolitan Opera suspends James Levine after new sex abuse accusations. We're talking classical music. The Metropolitan Opera suspends James Levine, or is it Levine? Levine. I've never heard him. You can pronounce it a number of different ways. I don't know how he particularly pronounces it. Levine, Levine. Its revered conductor and former music director was suspended on Sunday after 3 men came forward with accusations that Mr. Levine sexually abused them decades ago when the men were teenagers. So, yeah, bet you thought it was going to be another guy old guy hitting on young women. Well, in this case, it's a not so old guy hitting on boys. Teenagers is misleading. They could have been 18 or 19 and still be teenagers. Now, Peter Gelb, the general manager of the Met, announced that the company was suspending its 4-decade relationship with Mr. Levine, who's now 74, and canceling his upcoming conducting engagements after learning from the New York Times on Sunday about the accounts of 3 men who described a series of similar sexual encounters beginning in the late 1960s. The Met has also asked an outside law firm to investigate Mr. Levine's behavior. It's the 1960s. Now we're going back, almost 50 years. When Levine or Levin would have been in his 20s. I'm just trying to put it in perspective, folks. Now, these 3 guys are saying, well, this is what happened back in the 1960s, nearly 50 years ago. But so far, there doesn't, just like Judge Roy Moore, there doesn't seem to be anything more recent. And somebody, granted the guy's 74 years old, but somebody's losing their job over something that happened half a decade ago. Now, this is getting, I have said this is getting out of hand, folks. This is getting out of hand. Now we're getting overly sensitive, and people can come out of the woodwork. There's something that, I wouldn't be surprised if somebody comes forward with some current star who's in their 60s, 70s, or 80s and accuses them of sexual assault or sexual harassment, back in the 40s and 50s when the person they were accusing was actually 16 years old. It's getting to that point. Do you realize this? It's getting to that point right now, folks. We're talking about, now I'm not discounting what these guys say that they went through. The accusations of sexual misconduct stretch back to 67 and 68. And we're talking 47 years ago. This is, it says 67. It's 50 years ago. 49 and 50, literally. So Chris Brown, who played principal bass in the St. Paul Chamber Orchestra for more than 3 decades, said that Mr. Levine masturbated him that summer and then coaxed him to reciprocate when Mr. Brown was 17 at the Meadowbrook School of Music in Michigan. Levine was 25 at the time. So here you have a kid who's 17 or 18 years old accusing a 25. I mean, seriously, it was 50 years ago. And he coaxed the person into, hey, no, I'm not going to get that vulgar with this, but come on, let's think about this for a second. You're a horny 17-year-old boy. You're flirting with the notion that you're gay, or you're just a straight horny boy, and you need to get off. What happens? Somebody offers, you accept, and then 50 years later, you're going to accuse them of sexually manipulating you? 50 years later? Literally, we're talking 1968, 1967. How much further are we going to go back in time? But in any case, when it's 17, 18-year-old, like I said, there's another person, James Lestock, said that Mr. Levine also masturbated him that summer when Mr. Lestock, Lestock, was 17. The first of many sexual encounters with Mr. Levine that have haunted him since then. And Ashok Pai, who grew up in Illinois near the Ravinia Festival, where Mr. Levine was music director, said that he was sexually abused by Mr. Levine starting in the summer of '86, when Mr. Pai was just 16. So that's a little bit earlier. We're still going back, 30 years, 30. But all three of these men accuse Mr. Levine of masturbating them, giving them a hand job. And all of these guys say that they've had nightmares and they suffered tremendously after getting a hand job from another guy. 50 years later. I'm having a hard time buying it, folks. I really am. Los Angeles, New York City, London chase a growing mass of sex cases and allegations. This is from Los Angeles in the AP. Police in London, Los Angeles, and New York are working to untangle an ever-growing mass of sexual assault and sexual harassment complaints against powerful men and some women now. Creating challenges even for big cities used to handling celebrities. Most of the cases stem from claims against media mogul Harvey Weinstein, but authorities say they've also taken complaints made against other men in power. It's an international phenomenon, said New York Police Department Chief of Detectives Robert Boyce. He was asked about the investigation into Weinstein. These ladies were sexually assaulted, harassed, and they acquired physical and psychological damage. So we have to move very cautiously with anyone who comes in. Unlike cases involving everyday people, pressure from the media and high-powered attorneys create added problems for the investigators. And many of the recent allegations date back years, sometimes passing the statute of limitations. Yes, indeed. So there you have it. This is the sex stuff just won't stop, won't go away, folks. Just won't go away.
Tired of paying outrageous prices for Viagra? Well, we have great news for you. Now you can finally get Viagra at huge discounts. Healthy Man allows you to save up to $500 on Viagra. Why pay U.S. pharmacy prices of $15 per pill or more when you can get Viagra for less than $3 a pill? Call today and get 40 Viagra pills for only $99. This can cost as much as $600 at your local pharmacy. You can't afford not to call us. If you want Viagra at the lowest prices, never pay $15 $15 a pill pharmacy prices again. Get Viagra for less than $3 a pill. Call 800-595-2614 today and save up to $500 and get 40 pills for just $99. Healthy Man is fast, easy, and affordable. Operators are waiting at 595-2614 to take your call now. Call 800-595-2614. That's 800-595-2614. Again, 800-595-2614.
It started with a knock, but it wouldn't end there. What happens in the story next, many wouldn't understand, and most wouldn't believe. 5 + 2 = Perfection by Samuel Rosette Jr. is a must-read. The scriptures within are reminders of the ancient past, and yet intriguingly infuses with texts which stand on the edge of the stage of relevancy. Available online at Westbow Press, Amazon, Books A Million, Barnes & Noble, and SamuelRosetteJr.com.
We've all heard of male enhancement, but now there's an expert on true male enhancement in the areas that really count. In Herb Ellis's book, Husband 2.0, Real Male Enhancement, you'll find answers to questions like, why doesn't she want to have sex? A quick start, quick results workout guide, plus what you can do as a side hustle to make money now. With all the great tips in this book, every man can benefit. Get the book, Husband 2.0, Real Male Enhancement, on Amazon.com.
Yes, love hurts. It can hurt emotionally, but more important, it can also hurt you physically. It can hurt you in a way which nobody who owns a hot tub and lives in California can afford to be unaware of. Yes, I'm talking about California hot tub rectal gonorrhea. This painful, incurable disease can make an enjoyable soak in a hot tub with family, friends, and dog into a literally unforgettable experience. If you catch California hot tub rectal gonorrhea, not only will you walk around feeling like you're about to pass a twisted sardine can lid, you'll also smell like a pile of burning tractor tires. So don't jump out of the frying pan and into the hot tub, because if you get California hot tub rectal gonorrhea, it'll really burn your ass.
This has been a public service message brought to you by the Citizens Against CHTRG Foundation. California hot tub rectal gonorrhea. We're not going to take it sitting down.
Another Christmas song here for you that I want to play before, and then we'll, of course, we'll get into the wonderful holidays for today. Today's Christmas song, or this hour's Christmas song, goes back to last year. What child is this? What child is this? Is this hour's Christmas song, going back a year, last year, getting a little bit classical on you. Speaking of classical, today's holidays for today, it's a classic today, National Cookie Day. Yes, go out there and celebrate cookies by eating a whole bunch of them. You know, Christmas cookies, don't say call them holiday cookies, they're Christmas cookies. Christmas cookies, Hanukkah cookies, any regular day cookies. Today's National Cookie Day, so enjoy a cookie. It's also National Dice Day. So roll the dice freely today. There are small throwable objects that can land in various positions. Of course, you know what dice are. I didn't say gamble with them, just roll them. It's also Cabernet Franc Day, or French Cabernet Day. So today, you can't have a cab unless today, a Cabernet wine today, unless it's actually from France. It's got to be French. That's how you celebrate today. I can do that. You go out and get me some French cab today. It is also Extraordinary Work Team Recognition Day. I'm not even going to elaborate on that. That's self-explanatory. It is Santa's List Day for all you wonderful little children out there. The Santa's List Day is a day each year when Santa makes his list of children that have been naughty and been nice. If you've been naughty or nice, today is the day that Santa writes out his list, and he's going to check it twice and thrice the rest of the season or rest of the year. It's also Wear Brown Shoes Day. This is the day that you wear brown shoes. It's just national. It's international wear brown shoes. Wear brown shoes. But don't forget to wear your socks with those shoes, because it's also National Sock Day. That's right. You gotta have socks. Now it doesn't say brown socks. You can wear any kind of socks, any colored socks, along with your brown shoes. You don't have to bring up brown socks, black socks, or white socks. It can be any colored socks. Just wear them with your brown shoes, because today is National, and you'll be celebrating two holidays at once. National Sock Day with National Wear Brown Shoes Day. It's also National Kitten Day. You can't wear a kitten unless you're Cruella de Vil, but then she wore puppies. It's also Wildlife Conservation Day. So there are your holidays for today, December number 4. So Hanukkah music? Is there Hanukkah music? Is there such a thing? I don't know. Well, can you make music out of a dreidel?
You might be surprised to learn who has Crohn's disease or ulcerative colitis. Nearly 1 in 200 Americans are suffering with the debilitating pain and constant disruption of these inflammatory bowel diseases, or IBD. Chances are you know someone with IBD. For example, your neighbor or coworker. The Crohn's and Colitis Foundation was created to help patients cope and to find a cure. People with IBD can't wait. Won't you help someone you know? Visit www.escapethestall.com today.
Were you born from 1945 to 1965? People born during these years are 5 times more likely to have hepatitis C. But most people don't know they are infected. So even if you try to eat right, exercise, and take care of yourself, you can still have hepatitis C, a serious liver disease that often has no symptoms. In fact, people can live with hepatitis C for decades without feeling or looking sick. But over time, hepatitis C can cause serious health problems, including liver damage, liver failure, or even liver cancer. Getting tested is the only way to know if you're infected with hepatitis C. That's why the CDC recommends everyone born from 1945 to 1965 get a blood test for hepatitis C. Treatments are available that can cure this disease. So talk to your doctor about getting tested. It could save your life. A message from the CDC.
Everyone is talking about healthcare these days. America spends twice that of other developed countries on our healthcare system, yet our health ranks near the bottom. How can we stop spending so much and getting so little? Shifting to a system based on primary care can help fix the problem. Patients with a primary care doctor live longer, healthier lives and are less likely to suffer from cancer, heart disease, or stroke. Primary care that is comprehensive and coordinated also saves money. Patients who have a primary care doctor spend 30% less on health care than patients who don't. States with a high number of primary care doctors have lower health care costs and higher quality care. Primary care can help make America healthy again. To learn more about the benefits of primary care, visit www.healthisprimary.org. This message is brought to you by America's Family Physicians.
It's been called shell shock, war neurosis, and battle fatigue. Today, we call it post-traumatic stress disorder, and it affects 1 out of every 5 warriors returning from battle in Iraq and Afghanistan. The Wounded Warrior Project offers comfort and support for warriors with PTSD and all other scars of war, whether those scars are visible or hidden. Find out how to help, because for warriors, the greatest casualty is being forgotten. Please visit woundedwarriorproject.org.
The Amazon's rainforest is being cut down so fast that by 2030, 55% of it could be completely wiped out. The Earth's forests can't speak up when they need help, but we can. Be the voice for those who have no voice. Visit worldwildlife.org.
There's a threat targeting America. One that's growing fast, but may still be hard to see. Lyme disease. Spread by tiny ticks, often smaller than the head of a pin. This dangerous disease is now more widespread than West Nile, tuberculosis, and HIV/AIDS combined. And if left untreated, it can lead to arthritis, facial paralysis, and even memory and concentration problems, often called brain fog. As the threat of Lyme disease grows to more than 300,000 projected cases each year, it's time for us to target Lyme disease. That means checking for ticks when you've been outside, even in your own backyard. It means seeing a doctor if you experience the symptoms of Lyme disease, which can include joint pain, flu-like symptoms, fever, fatigue, or sometimes a bullseye-shaped rash. Set your sights on stopping Lyme. Learn how you can target Lyme disease at targetlyme.org.
Dad, we need to talk.
Can we just enjoy the drive?
If you're not going to listen to me, who will we listen to?
Jeffrey. Ah! Marcia Gay Harden, what?
Eyes on the road, Dad.
What are you doing? What are you doing in my back seat? How did you get in here?
You're getting older.
Not that old.
Your brain's changing. It's natural.
Yeah, that's what I was saying.
Honey, I've got experience with this. Jeffrey, brain health is all about making the most of your brain as you age and helping to reduce some of the risks to your brain.
Really? Now that's interesting.
So, you'll talk to her about this, but not me. Marcia Gay Harden? Where did she go?
Learn what you can do to help keep your brain healthy at brainhealth.gov. She didn't say goodbye. I mean, I would have. Visit brainhealth.gov.
And we continue to roll on here on this Monday morning. Glad that you are still with me as we get into some other serious stuff or serious topics. Well, I guess you can call them serious. By the way, did you from the website lawandcrime.com, Mueller's team charged Trump aide with obstruction. You're not going to believe why. Mueller's team charged a Trump aide with obstruction for shutting down his Facebook page. A special counsel Robert Mueller's probe heats up after Michael Flynn's guilty plea. We're getting new details about another Trump aide who agreed to cooperate with the feds. Trump campaign advisor George Papadopoulos pleaded guilty on October 5th to lying to the FBI in January about his meeting with a Russian professor. A professor. In any case, according to the unsealed court filings, the professor claimed links to the Russian government, and Papadopoulos talked with him to learn about thousands of emails as well as dirt on then-candidate Hillary Clinton. Here's what we didn't know before the plea agreement. Papadopoulos was originally arrested as he got off a flight at Dulles International Airport in July. He was charged with lying to the feds and obstruction of justice. Yes. Shortly after his arrest, Mueller's team told a federal judge that he was willing to cooperate with their investigation. They eventually dropped the obstruction charge, and an attorney for Papadopoulos told Politico he was perplexed that the feds acted with such haste to arrest his client before even going to court to secure formal charges. Basically, can deleting your Facebook account count as obstruction? While it's on its face, it seems harmless to shut down your Facebook account. If Papadopoulos did this with the purpose of concealing some kind of evidence, the feds may contend. There is no concealing. Once it's online, it's online. So we didn't hear about this earlier. Why didn't we hear about this earlier? About this Papadopoulos fellow. And then evidently, once he agreed to, I guess, give up some dirt, they dropped the obstruction of justice. You know what that means? If they're willing to drop a serious charge like that so quickly, it means they really didn't have a case against him in the first place. And he's got a very bad lawyer if he made any kind of deal. I mean, this is so, hey, we're going to charge you with obstruction of justice and lying to us because you shut down your Facebook page? So I guess that means anybody and everybody out there, if you have a social media account anywhere, doesn't have to be Facebook, but anywhere, and you decide to shut it down, you can be charged with obstructing justice because the government is looking at your Facebook or your social media accounts to try to gather evidence against you. That's obstructing. That's not obstruction of justice. Not at all. How ridiculous are we getting with this, folks? I mean, I know we're getting into a whole new realm in which the government is woefully slow and inadequate to come to terms with and come to grips with, but social media and online. But to have it be said and you get actually accused and charged with obstruction of justice because hey, he can be charged with obstruction of justice for turning off his Facebook account or deleting his Facebook account, but Hillary Clinton doesn't get charged with that, with obstruction of justice, by deleting more than 33,000 emails? Hello? Anybody out there? I mean, this is getting out. This is way past out of hand. Donald Trump needs to shut this down once and for all. And by the way, yes, the president can do. The president cannot be held as accountable to obstruction of justice if he fires people that work for him. And either the president is constitutionally in charge of the executive branch of the government, or he's not. And if he is, then that means he can fire whoever he desires for whatever reason. I mean, if he doesn't like you because you're blonde-haired and blue-eyed, he can fire you for that. Now, maybe it's probably not politically prudent to say that that's the reason, but he can fire you for it. And this is just getting absolutely mind-boggling with this stuff. Speaking of some mind-boggling stuff, hey, you liberals out there paying attention to this? Joy Reid apologizes for past anti-gay articles. She says they were insensitive, tone-deaf, and dumb. MSNBC's Joy Reid has apologized for old posts of hers containing homophobic remarks. Now, Mediaite reported on Sunday that Reid repeatedly mocked then Florida Governor Charlie Crist as a closeted gay man who she nicknamed Miss Charlie. Now that he's married a girl, she wrote in one such post, Charlie Crist is being sought out for all kinds of good stuff. The GOP are wooing Miss Charlie to run. See, a conservative done this and they'll get fired. All she has to do is, oh, I'm so sorry. I didn't mean to upset any of y'all out there. I'm sorry. So sorry. So Miss Joy Reid has apologized. She continues. I can't go for this, but she continued. Nonetheless, as someone who is not a member of the LGBT community, which is now the LGBTTIPDXYQ community, I regret the way that I addressed the complex issue of the closet and speculations on a personal sexual orientation with a mocking tone and sarcasm. It was insensitive, tone deaf, and dumb. There is no excusing it. But wait, if she is mocking this guy, Charlie Crist, as being a closeted gay man, is she not mocking gay men? I thought the left loved gays. I thought the left loved the gays. So actually, by accusing Crist of being gay, it would be a good thing in liberal terms. After all, we have some leftist Anglican priests out there in England that want their congregations all over England to pray that little, toddler George, Prince William's son, George, turns out to be gay. So gay's a good thing. But she's disparaging a GOP candidate for being gay? Now, how do you get to that point unless you really don't like gay people? Unless you mock them and tease them and hate them anyway? Are you leftist people out there listening to this? Are you putting two and two together here? Miss Joy Reid doesn't evidently like you to begin with, to even begin to even utilize. I mean, that's like saying, using some sort of terms that are limited to black people and then apologizing later for it. Really? By the way, Joy Reid is a black woman that works for MS Meth. Reid now explains that there were widely rumored reports Crist was hiding his sexual orientation. Remember when people said that about Obama? People like Joy Reid blasted those people for such innuendos. There were rumors that persisted that Obama was at least bisexual and having sexual relations with men in college. Wasn't there a guy that came forward that actually said that he was Obama's lover in college? I think if my memory serves, there was a guy. He didn't get much press. I think he tried to get press, but I don't know if they proved him to be wrong or they poo-pooed him, but they didn't give him much press because it was construed to be as rude towards the president. And here you have a woman accusing a GOPer of possibly being gay. So what if he was? What if he was gay? Would that change her statements any? No, it wouldn't. She still had the same hatred and animosity towards gays and towards Republicans. And don't think it's not hatred. Because would she call Chris anything that you'd call black people? No. Why? Because Joy Reid doesn't hate black people. Well, I get that she is black, but she doesn't hate black people. So why would she pick gayness? Because there were some rumors that were out there? Yeah, there were rumors about President Obama too, but nobody said anything about that. This comes on the heels, however, of another gay-related story. Gay wedding clash at U.S. Supreme Court is no piece of cake. Colorado baker says he won't make cakes for same-sex weddings still. And top court must balance free speech to equality in the Colorado case, so says Bloomberg.com. They're going to have to. The Supreme Court is going to hear the case of the. Well, they're out of business anyway now, aren't they? Wasn't there a cake maker that basically went out of business? But the whole point is that you should be able to get to congregate basically with whom you have the right and the freedom in this country to congregate with whom you want to congregate with or associate with. And that includes if you don't want to be around gay people, you have the right not to be around them. If you don't want to associate or do business with them, you have the right not to associate or do business with them. I've often said, I think people should have the right to refuse me service because they don't like the color of my skin. They should tell me that because I'm not going to want to give them my hard-earned money anyway. Well, Rod, don't you have a problem with No. You see, government can't discriminate. But people discriminate every day. And don't tell me that they don't. Hey, they obviously are not as overt as this couple was accused of being. Hey, will you make a cake for a gay wedding? No, I'm a Christian. I don't believe in gay weddings. Oh, we're going to sue you. Why? You want to force this pro-Christian, staunch Christian business to give you a cake so they can take the money that you're giving them in profit and potentially give it to anti-gay organizations, because that's what's going to happen. So I want to force a business to take my money who doesn't like black, so he can take my money and give it to an anti-black organization like the KKK. Yeah, that makes a whole hell of a lot of sense. Because that's exactly what happens, folks. That's what happens. So basically they're they're beating you with your own belt. How's that for irony? It's just well, they're trying to make a statement because they're trying to say, well, because we don't like the way you think, we're going to sue you. We're going to force you not to think this way. You're not going to change the way a person thinks. A man convinced against his will is of the same opinion still. I know there are people out there that are saying, well, it's, you can't, you don't like, you would not like it if somebody discriminated against you. Hello? I'm a black man in America. You think I've never experienced racism or discrimination before? Yeah. Look, I know that's why I didn't get some jobs. Hell, I've even seen my resume marked up. One had a big red B on it when I went to interview. I noticed it right off the bat. Now, maybe it meant something else. Maybe I wasn't an A candidate. Maybe I was a B candidate. Really? I don't think so. Maybe B was for, because some of the questions were pretty pointed towards racial issues. I didn't finish the interview. I just said, I just don't think this is, I don't think either one of us is comfortable. I don't think this is going to be a good match. And I walked out. Was I happy about it? No. Well, they can't discriminate against a job for, why would I want to work for somebody who's going to hate me anyway? Is going to make my life miserable. Think about it. This kind of stuff happens every single day. The difference is that most of the time you don't realize that it's actually happening, but it is happening. Now, if somebody comes out and is honest and says, I don't like you because you're black or because you're gay, wouldn't you rather know that than to try to force them to do business with you or try to work for them? Your life is going to be a nightmare. Honesty is always the best policy, no matter what. At least accept it.
Tired of paying outrageous prices for Viagra? Well, we have great news for you. Now you can finally get Viagra at huge discounts. Healthy Man allows you to save up to $500 on Viagra. Why pay U.S. pharmacy prices of $15 per pill or more when you can get Viagra for less than $3 a pill? Call today and get 40 Viagra pills for only $99. This can cost as much as $600 at your local pharmacy. You can't afford not to call us. If you want Viagra at the lowest prices, never pay $15 a pill pharmacy prices again. Get Viagra for less than $3 a pill. Call 800-595-2614 today and save up to $500 and get 40 pills for just $99. Healthy Man is fast, easy, and affordable. Operators are waiting at 595-2614 to take your call now. Call 800-595-2614. That's 800-595-2614. Again, 800-595-2614.
We've all heard of male enhancement, but now there's an expert on true male enhancement in the areas that really count. In Herb Ellis's book, Husband 2.0, Real Male Enhancement, you'll find answers to questions like, why doesn't she want to have sex? A quick start, quick results workout guide, plus what you can do as a side hustle to make money now. With all the great tips in this book, every man can benefit. Get the book, Husband 2.0, Real Male Enhancement, on Amazon.com.
It started with a knock, but it wouldn't end there. What happens in the story next, many wouldn't understand, and most wouldn't believe. 5 + 2 = Perfection by Samuel Rosette Jr. is a must-read. The scriptures within are reminders of the ancient past, and yet intriguingly infuses with texts which stand on the edge of the stage of relevancy. Available online at Westbow Press, Amazon, Books A Million, Barnes & Noble, and SamuelRosetteJr.com.
in any case, have a wonderful day, people. We are out of time for the day. We will be back here tomorrow morning, same time as usual. Thanks for tuning in. I'm Rod Eccles. I'm out.
Damn, it feels good to be a Clinton. Damn, it feels good to be a Clinton. A shameless politician always plays her cards right. Got a crew for the fight on the airwaves. Lapdogs in the press keep their mouths tight. Cause a Clinton never needs to explain what, why it is, what they done, or with who. A real Clinton knows that they're entitled, and you don't get to know what they do.
What difference does it make?
For Clinton, what's loaded in some fat Apple file? A Clinton plays the victim for promotion. A Clinton kills it off with a smile. Damn, it feels good to be a Clinton. A server full of secrets ain't no thing. Damn, it feels good to be a Clinton. Nothing ever hits with the sting.